Hello class, and welcome back to Let's Make Music, the music educational channel where we bring music lessons to you from home. Once again, I'm your instructor, Cody Hanna. I'm a multi-instrumentalist of about 15 years now, and I'm also pursuing my bachelor's degree in music education. All right, so today we are starting a new series called Let's Play Piano, where we're going to learn all about how to play the piano. This is just going to be our intro lesson, so we're going to be in the virtual classroom mostly, but in videos to follow in this series, we're going to be at the piano, and I'm going to be teaching you all about how to play. So before you start these lessons, please go check out our basic music theory series first, at least the first couple of videos, so you have a decent knowledge base, because I might throw out terms like, oh, play this chord, or play this interval, and it's really important to at least have that basic fundamental knowledge before we get started here on the piano. So our lesson overview, we're going to learn what a piano is, the different parts of the piano, how pianos work. We're also going to learn about the history of the piano, how we read piano music. We're going to find out how we find the notes of the piano. We're going to learn about the finger numbering system, and we're also going to learn our basic playing position. So what is a piano? Well, hopefully you already know a little bit about what a piano is, but if you somehow have never seen a piano before, first of all, who are you? You sound really interesting. I'd like to meet you. And second of all, a member of the keyboard family. So obviously pianos have keys, it's a keyboard instrument, and we play the piano by pressing the keys, and that's what creates a sound, right? So this is just a little diagram that goes over the basic parts of the piano. You don't need to know all of this, but it's helpful to know at least the basic anatomy so you know what's happening inside your instrument. Right here's our keyboard. That's going to be one of the most important parts because that's where all our notes come from, right? But some other parts that are kind of interesting to know about is, you've got your bass strings here, you've got your treble strings here, you've got your bridges, the cover, and then, there's really kind of simple ones like, I don't feel like I need to tell you what a wheel is, hopefully, um, or, the leg. But that's just a basic overview of the different parts of the piano. So how does a piano work? So if you're playing a grand piano or any kind of piano that is not like an electronic keyboard, the way that they work is that when we play a key, they're connected to a hammer inside the piano. And this hammer, basically what happens is when I press down on a key, it's connected to this hammer that strikes a string on the inside. And that striking of the string creates a vibration, and that's what creates the sound. And so from the bottom of the end of the piano where we have longer and thicker strings, that's going to give us lower sounds. And at the top of the piano where we have shorter and thinner strings, that's going to give us higher sounds. Basically, that's what's happening inside your piano. When you take your finger off, what's happening is that there's these things called dampers inside your piano. So when you take your finger off and your hammer returns to the original position, these dampers press on the strings really lightly to just stop the tone. So that's how we start and stop our notes on the piano. And that's the sort of the basics of how the piano works. So just some fun facts, basic history of the piano. The piano was invented right around like early 1700s by a dude named Bartolomeo Cristofori. I think I pronounced that right. And the reason that the piano was invented was because the main keyboard instrument of the time, the harpsichord, it used a mechanism inside that was similar to how pianos work, but is a little bit different. So instead of having a hammer that strikes the string like this, it had something more like almost like a pick with a guitar. It plucked the string instead of striking the string. And the problem that arose with that is it was really hard to control the dynamics, like how loud or how soft that your instrument was playing. So harpsichords typically kind of played at a set dynamic level. You could alter it a little bit, but it wasn't as easy to do that as it is on a piano. So out of that need came the piano. So how to read piano music. If you've seen our basic music theory lesson on standard musical notation, which if you're watching this, I hope you have. If you haven't, please go check it out. And while you're down there, go subscribe. That would be awesome. Uh, it uses a grand staff, so that means we have a treble clef staff and a bass clef staff. And it uses these two staffs together, stacked on top of each other, because pianos have such a large range of notes that we can play, and it would be really obnoxious and not conducive to the best kind of reading experience when we're reading music to have that all be on one staff. It'd be really kind of crazy to look at. So we split that up into a treble clef staff and a bass clef staff. And typically, your right hand is going to be playing more on the treble clef staff, and your left hand is going to be playing more on the bass clef staff. So this is just a picture of the grand staff here. We have, we already know our note names, hopefully. But this is our treble clef staff, this is our bass clef staff, and I want you to just note this note here and this note here. Middle C, which is C4, these two notes, which are the same tone, that's kind of our middle point of our piano, right? That's why we call it middle C. And the thing about middle C is that it can either be basically, and this isn't always true, but basically, the middle C can either be the lowest note of the treble clef staff, or it can be the highest note of the bass clef staff. So that's kind of our meeting point of our two staffs. All right, pedaling. We'll get into a little bit about how the pedals work that you might see at the bottom of like a grand piano. But I just wanted to show you this symbol here. So this is what you'll see in your piano music, or something kind of like this. This symbol right here, you see how this has this line underneath these notes? When you see it as a straight line like this, that means you're supposed to put your pedal down. And then when you see something like this that I have like an arrow going to here, it's really showing you like a specific diagram of what you're doing with your foot. So this is telling you need to lift your foot off the pedal here. And that's literally like, press the pedal down, lift the pedal up, press the pedal down, lift the pedal up, right? So that's pretty simple, but that's something that you will probably see a lot in your piano music, and it's important to know that symbol in your music. All right, so these are the pedals that you will usually find on a piano. This farthest one to the right is the one you're probably going to get the most use out of. This is called the sustain pedal, or some people call it the damper pedal. And what this does is it lets notes ring a lot longer because it keeps those dampers inside the piano from stopping the vibration of the strings. So when you hit a chord or a note with that pedal down, it's going to continue to ring out until it kind of organically stops vibrating. This middle pedal here is our sostenuto pedal. And you can use it for a couple different things. It's also called a practice pedal because some people, like, if they want to play a little bit quieter when they're practicing the piano, they'll hold that pedal down. But basically it's kind of half used to hold certain notes and play a little bit quieter. So it kind of depends on how you want to use it, but that's the basic function of that pedal. And then this pedal here on the left, this is our soft pedal, and that kind of softens the tone of the piano a little bit. And, really, when I'm playing piano, I don't use these two very much. I mostly use the sustain pedal, but sometimes you'll use these guys, and it's important to know A, the names, and B, what they do. But really, this is the one that I think is the most important. So at least if you know that that's the pedal that you use to sustain your notes, I think you're golden. So how do we find the notes of the piano? So when we identify the keys of the piano, there's a repeated pattern of white keys and black keys that goes all the way up the piano. And here, maybe I can show you here. So this is my keyboard pad, but you can see this basic C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, that repeats all the way up the length of the piano. So really, if you know one octave there, like this much of the notes, you basically just repeat that going up. So we really only have to learn where 12 notes are because that pattern repeats all the way up the piano. And some important reference points that are going to help you when you see notes in your music and you need to match them to the keys of the piano are going to be middle C, that's going to be C4, treble G, and then bass F. And that's like where your treble clef wraps around your G. Remember we talked about that in our musical notation. And then bass F is same spiel. It's where your bass clef sits. Um, these are when you start out where I kind of based finding all my notes off of. If you can find middle C, treble G, and bass F, then everything else you can kind of find based on relativity to those notes. So these are the piano keys. This is the basic pattern I was talking about that repeats all the way up the piano. So you can see we have our diatonic notes here, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and then our couple groups of black keys. So we have C sharp or D flat, D sharp or E flat, and then for the group of three, we have F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, or G flat, A flat, B flat. So as long as you can memorize this pattern of notes, you know where any note on the piano is. It's just a matter of finding the right octave. And that's where a little chart like this comes in. So remember we were talking about middle C, treble G, and bass F. So this is going to be our middle C right here. And if you count up the octaves of C on a piano, it's going to be the fourth one. So we call that C4, but we shorthand it to middle C because it's in the middle of our piano, for quite literally. So this is middle C. Up here is going to be our treble G. So it's just the G above middle C. And then this is going to be our bass F right here. And so if we know where all of those notes fall and what keys to use for those, we can kind of use those to find all the rest of these. And sometimes you'll have treble clef that goes below this C or bass clef that goes above this C, but generally you'll find most things notated with this kind of system. All right, so finger numbering system. This is really important for the next couple lessons where I'm going to be teaching you about scales, because there are specific ways that we have to finger our scales as far as technique goes. So we number our fingers on each hand to make it easier for us to explain the basic techniques and how to play the piano. Here we have a pretty decent diagram of what that is. So you can see, left hand, right hand. Left hand, starting at your pinky, we've got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on your right hand. So it's pretty simple. Pinkies are always 5, middle are always 4, ring is always 4, middle is always 3, pointer is always 2, and thumb is always 1. So if you know that, they don't change through the hands, it's just kind of inverted. All right, so for this one, I'm going to talk you through it first, and then I'm going to jump out of the video box and I'll show it to you on the piano. But basically, your basic playing position, you want to be scooted forward on your piano bench. Don't be, have your butt kind of half hanging off. You want to be relaxed, but also have a nice straight and tall posture. And you want to have your hands in a relaxed curvature like this. So if you feel tension, that's wrong. You should be always relaxed. I always tell people when I'm teaching piano to try not to crack your egg or pop your balloon. And what I mean by that is like when we put our hands on the piano keys, hopefully you can see my hands, there we go. When we put our hands on the piano keys, I want you to pretend that we have like a water balloon or something, or like a rubber ball or an egg. I like water balloon or an egg because it's like they're kind of fragile and you don't want to break them. So we don't want to do this. We want a nice relaxed curvature in our hands, right? And this will make a little bit more sense when I show you on the piano. So let me hop up and do that. Alrighty, we're back. I just wanted to show you real quick how I would get ready to play the piano. So I'm here at my piano bench and I want to be kind of squared in the middle here. I'm gonna scoot forward a little bit on my bench. So I'm kind of half on, half off. Make sure that my posture is relaxed but straight and tall. When I bring my hands up, we've got that nice relaxed curvature. and then we're ready to play. Alrighty, guys, great work today. Thank you so much for joining me. Please, please, please like, comment, and subscribe for more music lessons like this. It helps us out so much here at Let's Make Music. And until next time, keep learning, keep practicing, and let's make music. Have a good one.